How to make an advanced selection in Photoshop. Alright, so there's usually two tools that I use when making an advanced selection in Photoshop, and that is the object selection tool or the color range tool. So the reason I use the object selection tool is because when you click select subject, Photoshop software sometimes doesn't pick up what object you actually want to be selecting. For example, it sort of just selects everything in the image. So if you want to select one subject in particular, all you gotta do is click on the object selection tool, click and drag over the object you want to select, and Photoshop will do its best to select it. And obviously you can fix this up manually with the quick selection tool, just like that. And that's how you make a selection of a separate subject. For the color range tool, I usually use this when I have a very advanced selection with a lot of detail, such as a tree. So all you have to do to access this tool is to click the select bar and then click the color range. So what this tool actually does is when you click on this eyedropper and click on anywhere on the screen, whatever color you click on, Photoshop will make selections that correlate with that color tone. So for example, if I clicked the blue sky here, you can see over here that Photoshop has selected all the blue that correlates with that selection. So if you want to select a single color, you can click the regular eyedropper tool, but if you want to select multiple colors, you can select the add to sample eyedropper, and then now you can click multiple colors of blue, and then you'll see on the right the colors just keep popping up the more different hues of blue that I select. So the way you can use this to select complex subjects such as this is you can use the add to sample eyedropper, and as you can see, it'll do its best at selecting all of the colors of the subject. So after you've got a rough selection of the subject, as you can see, you can use this fuzziness slider to adjust how strong you want the selection to be or how loose you want the selection to be. So if you drag this all the way up, you'll see in the image below that Photoshop will select most of the colors surrounding your selections, and if you bring it down, it'll just select purely the colors that you've clicked on. So I like to go about a third of the way in. Then all you have to do is just click OK, and then you'll have a basic selection here. So what you also might notice is that Photoshop might select parts of the image that you don't want included in your selection. And to solve that issue, all you have to do is click on the lasso tool and make sure that the subtract selection is selected. Then all you have to do is just drag around the parts of the selection that you don't want included, and Photoshop will just get rid of it like that. So after you have just the tree selected, what you want to click is the add layer mask button below the layer, and then Photoshop will separate that. Now, although you just have this tree selected, you may notice if I chuck a black background over this, there's still certain parts of this image that are being selected that we don't want in our overall selection. So in order to resolve this, all you need to do is just alt click on the black and white image beside the regular one, and then Photoshop will bring up that image. Then you click the brush tool, ensuring that the primary color is black. If yours isn't, then just press X on your keyboard. And then for the mode of the brush, click overlay. Now you can paint over parts of the selection that you don't want to include. You can even go through the tree just to correct those tiny errors that Photoshop might have made in your selection. And then when you're finished, just click on the regular image again, and then you should have a decent selection. However, you may see that for complex selections such as these, there might be a few little pixels there. And in order to resolve this and make the image a little bit bolder, you can duplicate the layer just by pressing Ctrl J. And then as you can see, the tree will just get a little bit bolder. And then all you have to do is select those layers and merge them, and then you've got your selection. And after this, if you still think that some of the edges are a little bit pixelated or jagged, you can do what we learned in my last video on how to make a basic selection. Click on the select and mask button, and then you can use the smooth slider if you want to smooth out the edges, or use the shift edge if you want to bring in some of those edges. And then after you're happy with that, you should have a pretty great selection that would have taken you a lot more time to do if you had to manually select it. If you have any suggestions or aspects of Photoshop that you'd like to learn, please let me know in the comments or send me a direct message on my Instagram account at BJT Production. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.